Good morning, class. This is your English teacher, Sir Sanjay. I welcome you all to yet another session of online classes. Like I mention always, the way we study and take classes have changed now due to pandemic. Okay. So without wasting time, let's begin today's lesson. It's called a different kind of school. Clear? It's from your English honeysuckle text. Which text? English honeysuckle text. Clear? A different kind of school. What is a school? A school is a place where we all go to read, learn, and get ourselves prepared for future. Right? So here is a preface before we read. Let's see what this preface is about. Okay. Do you know these words? If you don't, find out their meanings. You also find out the meaning of the word if you do not know already. Bandage, you all know, right? Some sort of drapery used to cover your wound and injury. Crutch. What is crutch? Crutch is some sort of support framework used by people who have physical disability, like someone is not able to work or use their hand properly. Okay. Then cripple. Who's a cripple? Cripple is a person who cannot use his limbs properly. Honor. What do you mean by honor? To honor is to respect someone, right? To honor is to respect someone. Okay. Then misfortune. Misfortune means the act of something bad happening to someone. Okay. System. You all know what system is, right? Method. You are asked to look at the pictures in this unit and guess in what way this school may be different from other schools. So let's take a look at the picture. First picture, what do you see? One girl is blindfolded, right? And a young boy is holding her hand. And on the background, you can see structure of the school. Some flowers are growing nearby, isn't it? So what can we make out of the school from this particular picture? Simple, it's a different kind of school because in normal school we do not usually have this sort of children where children are blindfolded or this and that, right? We do not allow this sort of games also. So what is it? Is it some sort of game or what is it? We'll come to know. Okay, then let's analyze other pictures. Yeah, there are more pictures, right? Then a girl seemed to be walking, and then more blindfolded. A girl is blindfolded, and let me pull it down for you. And this girl is in her crutches. See this particular thing that she is holding under her armpit, below her armpit, are called crutches. What do we call them? We call them crutch. Plural is crutches. Okay. So you are, I think, getting a slight idea of what we are going to learn ahead. We'll be learning about a different kind of school where differently able children will be studying. Children who have some physical disability or defects. Okay. So let's see. What is the name of the lesson? Yes, a different kind of school. What is it? A different kind of school. Now, without much ado and wastage of time, let's begin. Clear? So I'll begin reading. We are here, clear? We are here. I had heard a great deal about Miss Beam's school, but not till the last week did I did the chance to come to visit it. Clear. So the writer says he had heard a lot about Miss Beam's school. Miss Beams is of course the name of the person, right? Miss Beam. So the writer had already heard a lot about the school, but he could not visit it until the last week. Okay. He says when I arrived, there was no one in the sight but a girl of about 12. Her eyes were covered with a bandage and she was being led carefully between the flower beds by a little boy who was about 4 years younger. Means if the girl was 12 years, the boy was 4 years younger, so he was 8 years. She stopped, and it looked like she asked him who had come. He seemed to be describing me to her. Okay. Then they passed on. So what is being written here? It says when the writer arrived, there was no one in or around the school but a girl who looked to be about 12 years old. Her eyes were covered with bandage, and a young boy was leading her very carefully between flower beds. Okay. He was 4 years younger. What was his age? He was 4 years younger. Okay. So she stopped, and it looked like she asked him who had come. Okay. So she stopped for a bit, and it appeared from the way they were speaking about, like who has come. The girl was interrogating as to who had visited their campus. Okay. He seemed to be describing me to her. Then they passed on. So the young boy described to the girl the physical feature or appearance of the man who had come. Okay. Then they passed on. So after that, what happened? They went by. They passed on. Clear? So let's continue ahead. We are here. 3. Miss Beam was all that I had expected. The writer says Miss Beam was up to his expectation. He had few, expectation or idea of what Miss Beam was going to look like. So she was middle-aged, full of authority, someone with power to speak and keep her opinion very clearly. Okay. Yet kindly and understanding. So she was middle-aged, authoritative, but kind and understanding at the same time. Her hair was beginning to turn grey. Okay. So as she was middle-aged, when we are middle-aged, slowly and slowly our hair starts turning grey, right? And she had the kind of plump figure that is likely to be comfortable to a homesick child. Okay. So as young children, you all love your parents, mother and all, right? So Miss Beam basically was that sort of figure. Plump means little bit fat and chubby, clear? So someone who was the perfect example of comfortability to a child who is homesick. What do you mean by homesick? A child who wants to stay most of the time at home. Clear? I asked her some questions about her teaching method, which I had heard was simple. So the writer began asking her few questions about her teaching method, which he had heard was simple. Okay. So now let's continue reading 4. Here we are. No more than is needed to help them to learn how to do things. Simple spelling. So Miss Beam says Nothing extraordinary is required to help them to learn how to do things. Okay. So no extraordinary effort is required to help them do this and that. Okay. So what is required? Simple spelling, adding, simple spelling, you know, right? Like mango, banana, this and that. Then adding, subtracting, multiplying and writing. Okay. Simple spelling, adding, subtracting, multiplying and writing. These are the thing they require to learn like normal child does. The rest is done. So if you say, see, study is not only about simple spelling, adding, subtracting, multiplying and writing. It's much more than that, right? So how is the rest being done? That is the greater question here, the answer to which is the rest is done by reading to them and by interesting talks during which they have to sit still. Sitting still. What do you mean by sitting still? Sitting still means to sit quiet without being noisy, like you always do. Clear? And keep their hands quiet. Keeping hands quiet means what? Hands do not speak. What does this phrase means? Keep hands quiet. It means not to move your hands unnecessarily so as to distract your attention. Okay. The rest of the subject was read to them, to which they had to listen to attentively. Attentively means with full attention. Okay. And keep their hands quiet. There are practically no other lessons. So she says practically there are no other lesson, nothing more than what we are doing is possible. Okay. So what happens ahead? Let's find out in the following para. Okay. So why did Miss Beam open such kind of school? There will be certain sort of question in the mind of several people, right? Let's find out. What does she have to say about this? The real aim of this school is not so much to teach thought as to teach thoughtfulness. Wonderful. The real aim of the school is not much to teach thought. She says it is not the aim of her school just to teach simple curriculum and impart bookish knowledge. Okay. The aim of a school is way greater. It is to teach thoughtfulness. Thoughtfulness means what? To be kind to others, to be responsible citizens, and to be loving and caring. To understand what is required to break the barrier and bring ourselves closer towards responsibility and to be able to take responsibility on our own shoulder. So these are the special ingredients of thoughtfulness. Special ingredients of what? Thoughtfulness, right? You got to be mindful of that. Let's continue reading. Look out of the window a minute, will you? So she says, look out of the window for a minute, will you? I went to the window which overlooked a large garden and a playground at the back. Okay. So as she asked him to follow her towards the window for a few minutes, he did exactly the same thing. And as he peeped out of the window, he overlooked a large garden. You know garden, right? And a playground at the back. So there was garden and playground. And Miss Beam asked him, what do you see? Okay. What was her question? What do you see? Now what will be the reply? Let's find out. I see some very beautiful grounds. I said. He said he saw some very beautiful ground. I said, and a lot of jolly children. And he says a lot of happy children. So what were his observation? He saw some very beautiful ground and so many happy children. It pains me. Then he added, he said, it pains me though to see that they are not all so healthy and actually looking and active looking. Okay. He says It's very painful on his part to be seeing some of them not as healthy or as active as he would have wished them to be like, right? When I came in, I saw one poor little girl being led about. Okay, so he was sharing his experience. He said, when he had come, he saw one poor little girl being led about by that young boy. She has some trouble with her eyes. So he concluded that she was having trouble with her eyes. She could not see. Now I can see two more with the same difficulty. He is expressing the same. He says, now he can find two more children with the same difficulty. Means inability to see. We do not know whether his observation is correct or wrong, but he had observed seemingly observed three blind children, one in the beginning, two more now. Okay. And then he says, and there's a girl with a crutch. There is a girl with a crutch watching the others at play. So she is watching the others as they are playing. She seems to be a hopeless cripple. My God, he's using very harsh word, right? He says she seems to be a hopeless cripple. It's very wrong to be using the word called hopeless against anyone. Children, remember, never use this word hopeless against anybody, whatever the case is. If you use the word hopeless, it's like end of faith or whatever you call it for them. Yeah, so never call anyone hopeless, whatever the problems or reason may be. Okay, so she has some trouble with her eyes, and he called her a hopeless cripple, not the girl with the eye, the one who was holding crutches and then watching the others at play. Okay, so now what will Miss Beam say? Let's find out. Miss Beam laughed. Oh no, she said. She's not really lame. Lame means one who's not able to walk properly. Okay, this is only her lame day. It's her lame day. So what is lame day? I've never heard something called lame day. What is it going to be like? Let's find out. Okay, so she burst out in laughter and say, oh no, 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 this is just her lame day. So what is a lame day? Let's find out. The others are not blind either. It is only their blind day. So she says, no, it's her lame day, and the others are not blind. It's just their blind day. So one more name has come out. First one was lame day, and then we have one more. The second one is blind day, right? Blind day, right? So what do you think will this be? In my opinion, this will be, not in my opinion, I'm 100% sure about that. These things will be, particular week of the day. It can be 1 day or 2 day, where a particular sort of assignment is given to them to, act like they were blind or cripple and face the difficulties that a cripple or a blind goes by, so that they develop sincerity, they develop that understanding and pain one goes through if he does not have, power to normal vision, if he is not able to walk, if he is not able to use his limbs properly. Okay, so this is what. So separate days are assigned to each children called blind day, lame day, this and that. Okay, so let's take up this para number 9. This will be the last for the day. I must, okay, we haven't completed this one. We'll complete this last line first. I must have looked very surprised, for she laughed again. So she laughed again and he looked very surprised as she was laughing. Okay. So what does he say? This is a very important part of our system. Okay, this is a very important part of our system. To make our children appreciate and understand misfortune. Okay, this, she said, is very important part of this system in order to make the children realize and appreciate and understand misfortune. So, what is misfortune? We have been hearing that word a lot, right? Here is misfortune. What is it? Unfortunate condition or bad luck. Something that happens out of bad luck or an unfortunate condition. Okay. So, what does she say? She says, we to make our children appreciate and understand misfortune, we make them share in misfortune. Okay. So, to make the children appreciate and understand misfortune, they make them share in misfortune. Okay. So, if a particular child has, let's say, lost his legs or does not have normal walking power, or he is lame to be precise, the others will also be assigned with a particular lame day where they are not supposed to walk normally, so that they can understand the pains and miseries the lame child goes through. Okay, so why this is done? This is a very important part of our system to make our children appreciate and understand misfortune. We make them share in misfortune too, like I've said. Okay, so each term every child has, so in each and every term every child will have what? They will have one blind day, one lame day, one deaf day, one injured day, and one dumb day. Okay, so different days. What are the days? One blind day, a day in which they will turn blind by blindfolding their eyes. One lame day, when they will walk with crutches. Deaf day, the ears will be stuffed. Then injured day, then dumb day, of course the day when they will not be allowed to speak. Okay, so what happens during the blind day? The eyes are bandaged absolutely, and they are not, they are honor not to peep. Okay, so their eyes are absolutely bandaged and they honor this by not peeping. The bandage is put on overnight, so they wake up blind. Okay, so while they are asleep, the bandage is put on so that they wake up blind. This means that they need help with everything. Clear? No eyes means, of course, help will be required with everything, right? Other children are given the duty of helping them and leading them about. So, what is the duty assigned to other children during this period? They are given, assigned with the duty of helping and leading them about. Okay, they all learned so much this way, both the blind and the helpless. So, it's a great learning curve for them this way, both the blind and the helpless. Okay, so with this, let us conclude today's explanation session. I will explain further in the next class. Thank you, everyone.